Okay, so it's core main event time. It's the Women's Flyweight Championship, so we've got a double bill when it comes to the Flyweight title fights. We'll talk about the men's version of the belt in just a couple of moments' time. For this time, we'll be talking about the female division, and Valentina Shevchenko is back in action, and she's going to be taking on Jennifer Maia. So we've got the champion taking on the number 3 seed here, a fighter who is 3-2 so far in the UFC, but coming off a good submission over Joanne Calderwood last time out. Bookmakers aren't really giving Maia much of a chance here. You can get Shevchenko at a minus 1200 favourite, which is the second biggest favourite that she's been, first being Jessica Rai. Are the bookmakers on point with this one, or do you see a chance for Jennifer Maia somewhere?
Yeah, so the average odds I'm seeing are about minus 1400, which is 14 divided by 15, 93.3%, and I think that is very accurate. I think that Shevchenko's chances are around 95%, honestly. I think you can't go much higher than that because there's always injury, there's always some crazy stuff that could happen in a fight where you can't be that confident. But yeah, this is a very, very bad matchup for Jennifer Maia. As you mentioned, only 3-2. She's been defeated by Liz Carmouche, and she also got defeated by Caitlin Chookagian. I will say that. Go ahead,
who are
Carl.
both two people who Shevchenko's beaten recently.
Yeah. Also, so Maya's best performance was likely her win over Roxanne Modafferi. That was her best 15-minute performance, although she did miss weight for that fight. She had a kick caught versus Joanne Calderwood, got put on her back, and then women's MMA comes through. We got a guard submission with an armbar. I don't think we've seen a guard men's armbar in about 15 years, but for some reason they happen in women's MMA about every month.
I think I read somewhere that the amount of submissions by armbar is something like 15% for the men, and it's, I think, 40% for the women.
That's hilarious. I would actually guess it's a little lower for men. I mean, they're quite rare in men's MMA nowadays, but like I said, they're extremely common in women's MMA.
So we'll start by talking about Valentina Shevchenko, who is, I believe, this is going to be the 4th defense of the title, and Shevchenko has had a lot of impressive performances so far in the UFC, but I would go as far as put her win against Chookagian as probably, it's either that or the Holly Holm win in terms of her actual best UFC fight, because I actually thought Caitlin Chookagian could cause Shevchenko some problems just for how awkward of a fighter she is. But she handled all those difficulties, managed to mix in the takedowns and the striking, and then got that finish by strikes in the crucifix.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it in her top 3 wins. I would still go with Holm. No, I would go with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, then Holm, and then probably Juliana Pena in terms of her most impressive wins. I am impressed with the way about how she goes about these matchups. She goes about them very efficiently. She knows where her opponent's weaknesses are, and she really looks to exploit them and gets the fight over with. The only one where she didn't do that was the Liz Carmouche fight, which is one of the worst fights in UFC history. I don't remember too much about that except for Shevchenko would take her down and just keep her on her back for the full 5 minutes of every round. No one in the world has ever rewatched that fight, so no one will know for sure how it really went. But so Maia got outstruck by Caitlin Chookagian, and Maia was taken down by JoJo Calderwood. She was taken down by Liz Carmouche, and she was stuck on bottom versus Liz Carmouche as well. And Shevchenko's a better striker than Chookagian. She's a better grappler, wrestler than Carmouche or Calderwood. And I just don't see how Maia will have any success when Shevchenko is so exponentially better than her everywhere. Maia would have to put on an incredible 25-minute performance where she uses footwork. She outboxes Shevchenko. She doesn't throw many kicks because her kicks can be caught, and she will have to circle around the small cage using impeccable footwork and boxing for 25 minutes straight. And I do not think that has any chance at happening. I think that Shevchenko gets takedowns, catches kicks, somehow gets the fight to the floor, and we will see a finish from Valentina Shevchenko on the mat in rounds 2 or 3 here. I do not think it goes into the championship rounds. I think that Maia is just so bad off of her back. One thing I actually forgot to mention this, Alexis Davis caught a kick from Jennifer Maia and took her down, and Maia was on her back for 3.5 to 4 minutes versus Alexis Davis. So there's just no chance, in my opinion, that Maia is able to withstand the grappling from Shevchenko and not get finished. So unless Shevchenko takes it easy on her and just kickboxes with her for 15 or for 25 minutes, I don't see this any way this fight doesn't end by finish. So I'm going to go with Shevchenko. What do you think? Submission or TKO? What are you thinking for prediction, Carl?
I'm actually I can actually see Valentina maybe doing it by decision. I think it's going to be maybe one of those sort of like 50-45 fights, which Shevchenko's capable of doing. Shevchenko, if she wants to finish, she can do, but sometimes she does like to play it safe and make sure that she grinds out that victory. In terms of Jennifer Maia, I think there's two big strengths that she has in this fight. The first is her last fight was against Joanne Calderwood, who's also a Muay Thai specialist, and she had a lot of success in that first round because the best way to beat a Muay Thai fighter is to have that sort of brawling style, keep coming forward, and to throw a Muay Thai fighter off with pressure. And Jennifer Maia, to her credit, was able to do that against Jojo. So she was brawling in, she was mixing in those sneaky leg kicks, and she was having success. So she knows how to fight a Muay Thai fighter, but Shevchenko's distance management is very, very good. So I don't know if she's going to be as successful. But also as well, Shevchenko's a fighter, in my opinion, who performs better the more active she is. She likes those 4 or 5 month turnarounds. And this time she's taken 9 or 10 months. I believe the injury was to, her knee. And for somebody who's quite kick heavy, you do wonder how much of a long-term effect that's going to have. But if everything's 100% with both fighters, I would favour Shevchenko to win this one. Those are the only 2 question marks that make me think Maia's got somewhat of a chance.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know Shevchenko had an injury, and I don't think that will come into play at all. And even if Maia has that approach, the same approach she did versus Calderwood, like you mentioned, the distance management, the footwork, the counter-striking of Shevchenko, they're all just so much better to the point where I think that if Maia is aggressive on the feet, she has a higher chance at getting countered and getting hurt with the strike like Jessica Ai did. So I think that she will be in massive danger anywhere this fight goes. And I do think I'm pretty confident in a finish in this one. I'm going to go with a 3rd round TKO for Shevchenko in this one. I think she probably will start slow as she typically does, but she'll turn it up in rounds 2 and 3. And I would be really shocked to see this one go into rounds 4 and 5. I think Chookagian is a much better fighter than Maia, and Shevchenko was able to get her out of there in about 11 minutes. So I think Shevchenko finds the finish here.
I think that's the way a lot of people are thinking. Just looking at the poll that we posted on the community page, you can get Shevchenko as a 95%. Most people think she's going to win 95%. You can get Jennifer Maia with 5%.
Yep, that's what the odds say about too. 93% for Shevchenko. I think Maia would be the biggest underdog in UFC history if she did pull off the upset. I think that Shayna Dobson earlier this year was at like plus 800, and that's the biggest. So Maia as a 9-1 underdog right now would be the biggest underdog in UFC history. I don't think it happens though.